Coming up on Avant Technology Insights with Ken Presti.
So they have to understand what's in it for them. How is it going to help them do their jobs better? How is it going to help make them more productive? How can it increase or improve their work-life balance?
We're taking a look at UCaaS from the human perspective. After you've made the effort to select the right platform and get it up and running, are you done? No way. Today we have an industry analyst who talks about stimulating user uptake and acceptance even when a move to a new technology and doing things differently is not high on their list. Welcome to Avant Technology Insights. I'm your host, Ken Presti. The link between solving business challenges and cutting-edge technologies has become tighter and more complex than ever before. In this podcast series from Avant Research and Analytics, we help enterprise decision-makers sort through the business case, the value, the challenges, and ultimately the bottom line of technology adoption. So listen to us at your desktop, take us in the car, tune in from the commuter train, or download us at the gate. You'll find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google, as well as in more than 25 countries listening to us right now and available across the globe. So Blair Pleasant, thanks so much for joining us today. A lot going on in the UCaaS space, especially as a result of just the general move to the cloud to begin with, and then what we're seeing in terms of global pandemics and things along that line. Let me take you up to the 50,000 foot mark. You've been doing this for a long time, as you said. How have you seen this part of the market change over the course of, first of all, over the course of the last few years, but also over the course of the last couple of months?
Yeah, things have been moving very quickly recently. For a while, things were kind of stagnant, and then all of a sudden, boom, things have really changed. So looking at the unified communications market, without talking about UCaaS in particular, things were progressing for quite a while. Unified communications was basically presence, instant messaging, web and video conferencing and collaboration, and some other technologies, and mobility, of course. And then along came team collaboration, team spaces and that kind of thing, which I consider part of the overall unified communications, or now the business communication space. So we're kind of putting all of that, including contact center and AI and other technologies, under this umbrella of business communications. Then with the cloud, when we start getting into things like UCaaS, it's been really exciting to watch. When UCaaS first came on the scene, it was just used by small businesses and maybe a handful of medium-sized businesses, but enterprises were keeping far away from it. And now every company is talking about unified communications as a service, or cloud-based unified communications. And there's not one discussion I have with companies that doesn't include UCaaS and cloud communications. So the change has been, really interesting to watch. And in the last few weeks, unfortunately, because of what's been going on with coronavirus and the global pandemic, cloud communications is really in the spotlight, for good reason, because it just makes it so much easier for businesses to be able to let their employees work remotely and collaborate remotely and do video conferencing. We've just seen video conferencing skyrocket in the last couple of weeks, and there's no end in sight for that. And it's just a great place to be right now.
And what are you seeing in terms of vertical markets? Are you seeing specific verticals that are more likely to adopt than others? And what might those be? And what do you see as those primary drivers?
Yeah, when it comes to UCaaS, it's really any vertical can benefit from it. And um, initially, when UCaaS first came out, there was a lot of reluctance from regulated companies, or healthcare and financial companies. They were concerned about privacy and compliance and things like that. But over the years, the vendors have done a really good job of uh, working on making sure that their systems do provide the security needed, the privacy, the compliance issues. So now we're seeing pretty much every industry, if they're not already doing some sort of cloud communications. They're at least looking into it. But even large, multinational banks and financial institutions are deploying unified communications as a service solutions. So it's really across all verticals. And more recently with what's going on with coronavirus, we're seeing a lot of healthcare, for telemedicine and telehealth, and of course schools and universities for remote users, and then pretty much anyone who has the ability to work from home, remote workers and knowledge workers. Everybody is turning to some sort of cloud-based service if they can.
And what do you see as the primary drivers? Is this a situation where they've been having outages, or is the legacy gear just getting a little bit long in the tooth, or is it about bundled services, or what is it that's taking somebody and making them say, "Okay, I've had this PBX in place for the last 7, 8, 10 years, however long it's been. It's time to throw that bad boy away and go with something new." Now that's a huge thing to do because if something goes wrong in the migration, you could be without your telephone service for a period of time while all that's getting straightened out. So it seems like a big risk on the one hand, but also risk associated with not moving forward. What do you see as the primary thing that's driving that ahead?
Yeah, it's going to vary from company to company and also the size of the company. In a lot of situations, it is, as you mentioned, their premises-based technology is no longer supported or it's outdated and doesn't really do the job that they needed to do. So that's probably the number one reason. The other reason is that a lot of organizations are getting mandates and they're being not necessarily forced to, but they realize that digital transformation is very important, and a lot of them are trying to do what they can to move forward with their with digital transformation. And UCaaS plays a lot in that area. So a lot of companies are moving to the cloud and UCaaS solutions for that. But I think the big reason is flexibility, and the flexibility that UCaaS solutions can provide. You can scale up, you can scale down. When there's a new technology and new features and functionality, you can get it pushed out to you, and you can push that out to your users. You're not stuck with outdated hardware and software that you have to upgrade. Um, so I think the flexibility of UCaaS solutions is probably the biggest driver that I see.
There are a lot of people out there who are starting to say that the PBX is either dying or already dead, depending on their point of view. What's your take on that? Is the PBX already dead, or is it dying, or is there always going to be a place for that old technology? What's your position?
Yeah, I always see a pendulum. Right now everything is moving towards the cloud and everything is cloud based. But I think for some companies, having their own on-prem system does make sense. That they're giving up a lot in terms of the flexibility and the scalability. But some people like having that control. They like being able to have more hands-on capabilities. They like being able to um, be more in control of their systems. So for some companies, it's always going to make sense to have a premise-based solution. So I wouldn't say that it's dead, but it's definitely on the way out, and it has been on the way out for quite a while. But I'm never going to say 100% of all the users out there are going to be using cloud-based solutions. There are always going to be some that are going to be using premise-based solutions for a while.
Aside from voice, what do you see as the primary applications in the UCaaS space that are really propelling it forward? I mean, obviously there's a lot to choose from, but in terms of the things that you see people actually using in a business context and using often, what bubbles to the top for you?
Yeah, I would say conferencing and collaboration for sure. The mobile applications, not so much, but certainly conferencing is the number one thing I see. And then if we do include team collaboration under this umbrella, then that would be the other thing that is growing quite rapidly.
Okay. And what do you see as when they're trying to roll this out? Okay, there's a number of things that they have to do. You've got to choose a system. You probably need a trusted advisor, a channel partner, or somebody like that to help you go through all this. And there's a number of steps that need to be successfully concluded in order to get to the other side without any hiccups, basically. What is there anything in particular that you see most people leaving out or forgetting until the last minute, or anything that they really need to look out for in making those choices?
You actually hit on one of my favorite topics, and that's user adoption and training. A lot of companies don't think about user adoption. They just focus on getting the technology out there and making sure that the technology works. But they don't think about how am I going to get my end users to actually use and adopt this technology? And that's a really big area that companies need to be spending more time on. And I've done lots of, papers and webinars and presentations about this because I think it's just so important. And so many companies don't think about it, and they really need to.
Okay, let's take that and reel back just a minute. Let's start with the proof of concept before we get to the training. What is involved in that? I mean, to a certain extent, it's obvious you're going to set it up and see what works, but you're also wanting a situation where you want people to evaluate it. There's different types of roles that would have to look at it. How would you structure that POC in order to get the best outcome?
Well, one thing I would do is make sure that whatever UCaaS service you get actually works and integrates with the applications and workflows that your users are using, because so many companies deploy a solution and then they realize that it doesn't interoperate or integrate as well with the applications and workflows that their workers are using. So I would make sure that that's definitely a big part of the proof of concept. I would also make sure that the features and capabilities that your workers use and need are part of that solution. Because again, so many times the IT department will roll something out and it's not necessarily something that the end users want or need, and it might be missing things that the end users need. So it's really important to get different types of end users involved in that, from different departments to make sure that the solution or service does have the capabilities that are needed. Then I would also look at remote workers and how does this work for the remote workers, because things might be fine in the office, but not necessarily when people are mobile.
Okay, so let's say you've gone through this process, you've picked out the solution that best meets your needs and best integrates with the CRM, ERP applications, and whatever else that you're using that are already in place. Now you're going to expand beyond that proof of concept and that tightly knit group of people from the different departments, as you said, and now you're going to roll it out to your whole organization. What would you say are the main things that people need to do in order to develop that training aspect and that deployment, and actually put it out in a way where people are going to find what they need and maybe even discover some new things that can add value to their workflows that they might not even have considered yet?
Yeah, so I think it's important to roll out the service initially to maybe some power users or some tech savvy users and people who can try it out and really get the value from it, and then from there roll it out to the rest of uh, the organization. So for large organizations, I would start maybe department by department or location by location rather than doing everything all at once. But for small companies, of course, it's easier to do it all at once. But when getting started, I would definitely try to get that initial group that can really evangelize about the service and help to get that adoption going, and have a sponsorship team so that you have this group of workers that um, will help get this service to go viral within the organization. So when people see, their boss or their peers who they respect using this technology, then they can start getting excited about it. So when they see, a coworker starting to use video, for example, it's like, wow, I see you're using video. How are you doing that? Or if they're, using some other capabilities, let's say mobile access. It's like, wow, that looks really cool. How do I do that? So it's important to get that initial group going, and from there you can start driving adoption throughout the rest of the organization.
You've touched upon a really interesting concept because, on the one hand, UCaaS is a technology, and you pursue that migration as you would a technology. But given its role within an organization, it also has a very human impact of it. And there's people out there who are going to say, "Okay, fine, this is what I'm being given to use. This is kind of getting forced on me. I'll learn how to use the phone, but I'm not really going to put a whole lot of emphasis on learning the other features and benefits around it and being able to use all these other things." With that in mind, have you discovered anything, or have any feedback around how to evangelize those higher level benefits, those higher level features, so that the people who may be a little bit reluctant to go down that road are going to be willing to give it a shot?
Yeah, it's all about the what's in it for me, helping people understand not just how to use the technology, but why. So they have to understand what's in it for them. How is it going to help them do their jobs better? How is it going to help make them more productive? How can it increase or improve their work-life balance? So really doing some internal marketing and some change management, so that people understand, the real value of this and how it really can help them. And especially when we talk about collaboration, this is so important, because if um, most of the people who need to collaborate aren't doing it, if they're not using the tool, then collaboration isn't going to happen. So you really do need to have that, the essential people using it so that they can collaborate together. So it's really about educating workers, doing internal marketing, um, maybe even doing some gamification, but making it fun, getting people excited about it. I've seen companies do posters and have contests and do things to make it fun, when they're deploying the new service, because they want people to adopt it. So they try to do what they can to really make it something that people are looking forward to, rather than just, okay, we're getting a new technology. I have to, stop doing what I've been doing. I have to learn something new and I really don't want to. But instead it's like, hey, we've got this, cool new technology and you can do A, B, and C with it. And you can video, you can use it while remote, and it's going to make you so much more productive. It's going to let you, collaborate better. It's going to, let you work from home when you want, if that's possible. So really get people excited about it.
You said the M word a moment ago, that being marketing. And it was something, when I heard you say that, I realized that I hadn't looked at it in quite that way before, because you roll out this new system, you roll out the new features and functionalities, and now it's not enough just to train them in how to work it. I think you really do need to market to them in order to get the momentum that you need, and to get people talking about it, and to have a certain amount of buzz associated with it, so that people are going to be more willing to try new things or discover different aspects of it that they might not have thought about in the past. Is that the correct way to look at it?
Oh, absolutely. Internal marketing is very, very important. Companies do things like, they have posters, they do digital billboards, they have articles about it in newsletters. They'll have it in, whatever, wikis or chat boards or whatever that they have. But really doing that internal marketing is just so important. I've seen, companies do things like Pizza Friday, where before the system is deployed, they'll have, people get together for pizza and they'll talk about, what the new system is going to do, and then maybe do some basic training, but, getting people ready for it. Um, so it's marketing definitely plays an important role. And it's interesting because, IT, we don't think of IT people as being marketers. So this might be a time when the IT people have to bring in other resources from the organization, people from marketing, people from HR, to get them involved, because you do want this to be something that, again, people are going to be excited about. And, IT might not be necessarily the best people to do that. So you do want to bring in other resources to help with that.
Blair Pleasant, thank you so much for giving us the benefit of your expertise in this very important technology space, and one that you've obviously been doing for a long time. We appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Avant Technology Insights with Ken Presti, featuring information and opinions on how key technologies can be leveraged to solve business problems. Avant Technology Insights is a service of Avant Communications, an IT decision-making platform for next-generation technologies. All opinions expressed are those of the guests and the host. For more information, please visit www.goavant.net. That's www.goav as in victory, ant.net. For Avant Research and Analytics, this is Ken Presti.